So these 2 points are asked in an interview. First, I will tell these 2 things. Okay. See how much this very small question, even anybody knows this answer. But the only thing is, you know answer, but the only thing is, at the time of interview, your presence of mind is very important. Okay. At this time, listening mind is important, but whether it is presence is every time is important, but that time is compulsory. Whatever you know, you can able to present it. That's very important, guys. That's why you need a practice. Okay, whether it is general type of interview or maybe it's a technical interview, whatever it is, a practice by practice. So with a different thinking practice means not just a question and answer, about thinking all around different types of comparisons, thought process. If you do it, just anytime your presence will works, your presence of mind will works, then you can able to present an answer in a easiest way. I'm not talking about best way. I'm talking about easiest way. The easiest way of answer is very important. Okay. So sometimes different things when you are comparing. So there's no direct differences. For example, TCP, UDP, direct differences. TCP type protocol, UDP, both are for protocols communication purpose only, right? IPv4, IPv6, direct differences. IPv4, how it is, both are IP addresses. So there is a comparison. Sometimes no comparison will be between hard disk and SSD. Direct comparisons are there. Okay. So you have to check it like this. Sometimes not. In that kind of stuff, you have to tell about what is this, what is that, what is this, what is that in a separate manner. That's it only. So we sometimes know there is no comparisons. For example, Google Chrome browser and Edge browser, both are browsers. So some features may be added, changes, difference can be there. Okay, so we can tell. Or Windows and Linux, both are operating system, so there is having the similarities and differences are there. Okay, purpose is different purposes or same purpose. Okay, but sometimes not. So then how it is, we'll see. So web browser and OS. Web browser is a application. Web browsers, web browser, Chrome browser. Okay, Microsoft Edge, Firefox. So like the different web browsers are there. What is this? There's an application. To run an application, what we need is an operating system. Of course, hardware is common for everything, but without operating system, you can't run a web browser. Okay. So what is the purpose of web browser is to access a website. You're accessing different website like gmail.com, facebook.com, youtube.com, all these things from web browser only. Okay. So that is web browser. Okay. And purpose of operating system. Purpose of operating system, provide user interface, run applications, provide environment to run the application, interact with your hardware. That is a function of your operating system. Okay. Purpose is to run the application. Okay. Like a web browser itself. Without OS, you can't run any application. Without a browser, you may not able to access any website, but you can run other tasks in your system, right? But without OS, you can't run any task. Okay. So like that. So what is the purpose of this one? What is the purpose? What about this and what about that? So you have to make it like a differences. Sometimes expected questions, sometimes not expected questions. Sometimes unexpected question like this. Okay. So how to do it? So about first one and about second one. You have to tell. That's it. Guys, understand the differences?
Yes, sir.
RAM and hard disk differences. Okay, again, it's hardware part only, but anytime it is discussion only. Okay, RAM and hard disk. Both are memory devices. One common point is both are memory devices, but RAM is a primary memory and hard disk is a secondary memory. RAM is a volatile memory, so it never store data permanently, right? Data is temporary storage only. It load instructions and data and give it to processor process it and give it to RAM to IO devices, right? So RAM, whenever you turn off your device, one of your laptop or desktop or mobile phone, whatever it is, the content data in the RAM automatically cleaned. Okay, so RAM store data temporarily. So RAM is a primary memory, mainly primary memory it is, and it is volatile. It data stored temporarily. Whenever you power off your system, data will be lost. We're coming to the hard disk. Hard disk is a secondary memory. So direct points are there. So that is primary memory. This is secondary memory. That is RAM is volatile. Hard disk is non-volatile. Even you shut down your PC or you're disconnected from your system, still data available inside your hard disk. Okay. So hard disk is also a mass storage device. Main purpose of hard disk to store your operating system, applications, and data. Okay. So RAM is not like RAM is load and give it like that kind of stuff, right? So knowing about this and that is also we can make it simple differences. RAM is primary memory, hard disk is secondary memory. RAM is volatile memory, hard disk is non-volatile memory. Okay. RAM store data temporarily. When system is off, data is gone from the RAM. Hard disk is not, it's like that. It's a permanent memory. Even you shut down your PC, data remains in your hard disk only. And hard disk is a mass storage, means lot of data you can able to store. Hard disk availabilities are generally like a 500 GB, 1 terabyte, 2 terabyte nowadays. RAM still where general public availability is 16 GB RAM, 32 GB RAM, 64 GB RAM like that only. Okay. Of course, bigger RAM capacity is also there, 1 terabyte, 4 terabyte RAM is also there, but still it is not like that. Okay. And hard disk purpose is to store your operating system, applications, and that. This is what is the difference. Let's understand hard disk and RAM difference. Another common thing is Windows and Linux. Of course, you have to find about Windows and Mac differences also. Okay, find about Windows and Mac differences also. But I'm telling about Windows and Linux. So what is the Windows and Linux? What are the differences? Guys, some people keep on telling from so many years, I know from so many years about these voices and okay, people are keep on telling so Windows is not at all secure, Linux is highly secure. And why we are using Windows? Why not Linux in our regular systems? Okay, so there is a big question on this. It's not about marketing or a powerful company kind of stuff. It's about how they are designed it and what is the utilization by the people. Okay, so different purposes of different operating system is there. Different kind of stuff is also there. Okay, in the background stuff. Okay, we'll see. Yes, Linux is open source. But open source means what? The source code of open source application, open source operating system, open source hardware. What is meant by open source? The open source means that source code means you program it, right? You've written a program that is available to anyone, everyone. Okay, so the source code is available. In a Linux, actually Linux is kernel. The Linux kernel is available to the public. So you can go to this link and see Linux kernel. So this is the current version 6.13.5. So latest kernel version. Okay, stable kernel version. This is a next release one. This is stable one. You can download this kernel and you can develop your own operating system yourself. So for that one, you required the programming language, programming knowledge is required, right? Kernel programming knowledge, shell programming knowledge is required. Okay. So, and somewhat hardware related knowledge is also required. Programming related hardware knowledge is required. Okay, then you can develop your own operating system yourself and you can distribute it also. And this kernel is available to everyone. So anybody can able to download and they can develop it. So that's it is. Linux is open source. What is open source? It is source code is available to everyone. First one. Okay. Whereas Windows operating system not a open source. That's why when you are learning about Windows operating system, they tell about what is Windows operating system, OS features, additional new features, okay, how to use it, this kind of stuff. Not about a kernel and shell part because you cannot manage its internal kernel and shell programming of operating system. Also, you cannot design your own Windows operating system by taking its source code. So source code is not available. It's completely closed. And Microsoft proprietary Windows is a Microsoft proprietary. Whereas Linux based operating system, this Linux kernel is mainly not a proprietary one. There is no owner of this Linux kernel operating system. This Linux kernel actually developed by Linus Torvalds. If you know the GitHub kind of stuff, right? I think CSCIT people know Git. So the Git is also developed by Linus Torvalds. So the Linux kernel and Git is developed by Linus Torvalds. But in a Microsoft, it is everything is under Microsoft proprietary or that operating system and all. Okay. And again, in Linux is powerful CLI, mainly command line interface only. Almost 99.99% of tasks, we do it in a CLI model. GUI interface is very less usage, and maybe some people use the GUI versions, but very less support from GUI based languages. But CLI is more powerful. Whereas in Windows is reverse. It is GUI is more powerful. Most of the tasks we do it in GUI based only. Very less time only we use CLI. For it, sometimes we need a commands to do. So then only we'll do it. Okay. In Linux, as I said, it is open source. The source code of this Linux kernel is available to everyone. Means anybody can able to take it, develop it, and distribute it. So many different distributions of Linux operating systems are there. For example, Ubuntu, so one of the most popular one. Red Hat Enterprise Linux, CentOS, Debian, Fedora, Oracle Enterprise Linux, so Linux Mint. Kali Linux. These are all different Linux-based operating systems are released from different organizations because Linux is open source. Whereas a Windows, Microsoft only distribute the Windows operating system. I can't do it, you can't do it. Only the Microsoft, from Microsoft only, the voice is distributed. Again, Linux is case sensitive. What is case sensitive means? Whether you are giving a command or file names or anything is compulsory, you have to follow the capital and small letters rule. Okay. In Windows, we don't follow that rule. That's not capital. Okay. So you mention, you type a command in a cap letter or small letter, no problem. Okay. You created a file with the cap letters or small letters, but it will take it as both the ways. That's not case sensitive. Whereas Linux is free license is provided. So this open source is available to anyone. So if those people who are take it and develop it, they mostly they will distribute it with a license free kind of stuff on it. Okay, no need to pay for the license here as per GPL and GNU. GNU means GNU not Unix, GPL means general public license. Current version is 2. Whereas Windows-based operating system, you have to pay for usage. Okay, pay for that license, you have to use it. And in a Linux, there is certain Windows-based viruses won't work here because Linux file system is different. Execution of things also different. So it's very that's that are Windows-based viruses, mainly .exes, Win32s, okay, registry kind of stuff is not supported by Linux. So that one is can use it. Okay. So that's why it is. So virus free means it's not really virus free, but there is a Windows based viruses. Windows. So virus works in Windows, won't work in a Linux. Even applications or other things also same. Server operating system, less desktop based machine. In Linux, most of Linux and Unix based operating system use it for a server purpose only, lesser use of desktop purpose. That's why Windows is become more popular for in desktop environment. Okay, so because of GUI and user friendly. And whereas Linux is, so mainly it is used as a server purpose only. Less desktop purpose. For example, Ubuntu desktop is for desktop purposes. Linux Mint is for desktop purposes like that. Okay, but mostly it is server purpose only we are using. And in Windows we have a separate versions. Desktop version Windows are there, server version Windows also there. And Windows is user friendly, means you don't require special training to use Windows. So basic to know your computer and small things, then you can start working with your Windows system. Whereas Linux is a need a trained professional. Linux, what we need is a trained professional. Okay. Yeah, in a Linux and Unix, we have a root user. That user is like an administrator of that machine, is a highly privileged user. Whereas a Windows Server, we have an administrator as a highly privileged user. Even Windows desktops also having an administrator by default. Okay. Yeah. Another very important one for a differences is Ubuntu. Sorry. Multi-user multitasking. Multiple user can log into same system, multiple tasks we can able to perform. And whereas Windows is single user, single task. So single user multitasking operating system. Only one user can log in at a time. Whereas Linux is less hardware footprint. What is less hardware footprint and more hardware footprint means? Hardware requirements for Linux is lesser. Why? Because CLI. So most of the thing is about CLI only. The GUI utilization is very less. So because of that, not required additional process to run inside of your system. So it is reduce the weight on this one. For example, I have a 4 GB RAM capacity, two systems are there. Okay, one is Windows, another is Linux. So Linux runs much faster than this Windows system. Okay, so Windows is basically GUI. That it means the GUI backend process, color, and other things. It's required more RAM, physical RAM, and processor capacity is also required. So when I started teaching this DevOps part, so I installed Git first initially, then Jenkins, then Docker I installed. It's become dead slow with 6 GB RAM itself. Okay, later I started on the Linux, then it has become very easy. System functioning is okay with the 2 GB RAM itself. Okay, guys, the highlighted lines are important to know. Okay, Windows is not a open source. Linux is basically open source kernel. Source code is available. Windows is proprietary of Microsoft only. Linux, there is no proprietary, just Linux kernel is developed by Linus Torvalds. Windows is UI is mainly powerful one and Linux is CLI is very powerful one. And Windows operating system is distributed by Microsoft only, whereas Linux have so many distributors. They take this Linux kernel and then they develop as per required. Okay, they distribute a different operating system after development. Where Windows is not a case sensitive, Linux is case sensitive. To use any Windows-based operating system, you have to use pay for license. Where Linux is not a licensed one, almost it's a free license one as per GPL and GNU. In Linux, the Windows-based viruses won't work in the Linux. Okay. So mainly Windows, we have a two different versions. One is desktop OSs and server operating system also there. Linux and Unix is basically for services purpose only. Okay. Windows is because of GUI, it is very easy to understand and work on it. Whereas Linux is CLI, so we need a commands and we know the professional to work on these Linux machines. Okay. So we have a built-in administrator is a admin for your system, and there it is. Administrator of Linux is a root user main. And where in a Windows single user, single task type of thing. In a Linux is multi-user, multitasking type. Okay, in Windows we require more hardware footprint, and whereas Linux lesser hardware footprint means more hardware requirements is lesser for Linux and more for a Windows. We can find differences, not required core architecture difference, guys. User related differences find out from Windows and Mac OS. Okay, so this is your part. So next one we are going to discuss is about a small differences like a possible like a device management and network device management, printer management. Also, we'll try to discuss, or we'll jump to the servers and services. Servers and services. What is work group? What is domain? What is this data center? What is an Active Directory group policies? Very important topic, guys. This is one of the. That's it for today. Okay. That's it for today. Meet you tomorrow. I think Sar already came.